From research that I've read and articles and stuff that have been published, the news states that there has been like an increase in measles and polio, diseases basically that should have been eradicated a while ago are coming back because parents aren't getting their kids vaccinated. It has come down to there's a lot of different factors that come into like play when a parent decides not to vaccinate their kid. It could be with religious reasons, or they don't believe, they might believe that it causes autism. I saw reports that some states are like, I don't know if they're banning or making the law that parents have to vaccinate their children, even they can't get it like an extension even for religion. I'm very anxious to see what Jelena, who I'm interviewing today, has to say about that, and like if that is ethical or not. I don't think I can form an opinion on it because I'm not a health professional yet. In terms of like public health, I think it's kind of ethical in the sense of trying to make sure everyone stays healthy, but unethical in the sense of you're disregarding someone's religion, which is not cool. So I want to know if like she has heard anything about that and what she thinks about that.
My name is Jelena Wynn. I am the public health nurse supervisor here in our immunization clinic. We serve children from 6 months on up across the lifespan.
Child immunization and the anti-vax movement within like the MMR vaccines, DTP and things like that. Is that a problem here in Kansas City? Like kids not getting vaccinated, and like who's not getting vaccinated and who is?
So yes, I believe it's a real problem. We are very aware of some of those kids that are not getting vaccinated because we give out the exemptions here at the health department. We only do that on Thursdays. So we kind of streamlined our process because back in 2016, I noticed that it seemed like we were just getting more and more people walking in asking for exemptions. And if we had no process policy in place, so what we would do is just stamp it and hand it to them and they go out the door. So I'm like, this is not cool. So we put in a policy in place and changed some of our processes. So what we did, thinking this would help, we cut down the days that we gave out exemptions. So we only give them out on Thursdays. That's a short day for us, so we only do it from 8 to 12:30. Anybody that comes in and asks for an exemption, they have to register their child. So if they have 3 kids that they want an exemption for, they have to register all 3. There is a survey I asked them to fill out just to kind of collect some demographics. And it's not mandatory, but I don't even tell them that. I just ask them to fill it out, and they usually do. After that is completed, then once my nurses get to them, after seeing whoever's in front of them, they call them back and just kind of go over that survey, do some education, and we send them out with a packet that can direct them to reliable sources about immunizations, safety of immunizations, the reason why we give immunizations, because we know a lot of time people are Googling stuff and they're reading all kind of things. So at least I've sent them out with some education material, sites they can look at, and some handbooks. I can tell you that has not deterred people from getting exemptions. over the last 2 years, our rates have steadily climbed.
That's it. There are a few states in the country that don't give out exemptions, so like California, Mississippi, West Virginia. Do you see like Missouri moving towards that, or are we too?
Unfortunately, I do not see us moving towards that direction. I think we are too conservative in our efforts. I don't think we have the politicians to back that. And I'm afraid that what's going to happen is that we're going to see a huge epidemic of vaccine preventable diseases reoccurring before we get something started here.
Okay. Like do you think it's ethical as a healthcare professional to provide exemptions to people different from religion? Like, not putting religion aside, do you think it's ethical in terms of like the health of the community to exempt children from vaccines?
So honestly, religious to me is an excuse that we use, because I don't know too many religions that really excludes from exemptions. We have some new age religions out there that now are saying they don't vaccinate. Okay, and I feel like that's your choice, but when it comes to the health of the community, we have to look at it, overall. We need to make sure we're protecting everybody, because there are truly some kids out there that cannot be vaccinated for health reasons, for medical purposes. We do give out medical exemptions as well, but those kids, they should be granted those. I do feel like parents have a choice, but I want them to be educated about it and be realistic about it, not get on the bandwagon because your friend said so. You've done no investigation about this. You're just saying stuff because you feel like the government's trying to make us do something or control us. You know what I'm saying? So I've seen some people with some vaccine preventable disease as a nurse working in the hospitals or wherever I worked. People with polio, the long-term effects that it's had on people. I remember chickenpox, our kids getting chickenpox. Some people, it's like, oh, that was not really horrible. Well, for some it was. Meningitis. Yeah. We don't see it all the time, but when we do, it's horrible. And it just does not affect that person, but it affects their whole family if they survive. I'm just afraid that it's gonna be some kind of mass outbreak before we decide to do something about it.
Is there anything that like the community or the health department is doing to like get more people to get vaccinated?
We're currently working on some legislation. Hopefully it'll pass, but at least we're working in that direction. We are doing some things, advocating for vaccines and trying to limit exemptions.
So do you think policy is the direction to like get it under control?
It's gonna have to be policy. It's going to have to be policy, because I feel like we have been preaching and trying to teach and educate, and it seems like it's just not getting through. I feel like the more we preach it or try to educate people about it, I think people are just, for whatever reason, leery. They always go back to conspiracy theories. And I pray all the time that their child or loved one is not affected by one of these vaccine preventable disease. But that might be what it has to take, for them to realize that, oh, we should have got that vaccine for those people. But we need more of them to be vocal and just as radical and crazy as those anti-vaxxers. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, look, I had to go through this, and this because I didn't get the vaccine, or we didn't have a vaccine back in the day when polio was around, So we got a couple of people that's out there, but we need more.
Yeah.
anymore. We just need a group of them to be just as vocal. Like when they got legislations going on down in Jefferson City, we need to be there. We need to show up like they show up. The anti-vaxxers were lined up down there to talk, to speak on their behalf. And like some of them had their kids with them, you know. So, and I'm like, of course it didn't pass, because we did have people down there talking on our behalf too. But they said it was so many anti-vaxxers, and they say the thing started at 8 in the morning. By the time the non-anti-vaxxers got up to talk, it was like 8 or 10 o'clock in the evening. Because it was so many of them, and they let everybody talk, you know. So I'm like wondering how many of those non-anti-vaxxers went home before they got
the chance to speak.
You know, but those people would sit there.
Whether an adult making a decision not to vaccinate their child is rational or not, I think can go under like rational choice theory. If they feel like they're making the best decision off the information they have, then in the sense it is rational. I think the overarching ethical theory is like maybe deontology, just because they have obligations to themselves and what they do for their own health, rather than like what it means to others or what they can do to help or what they owe other people.